James Twin for the untouchable true school sports. Let's go, baby. Bow!
Be careful what you wish for because it can become a reality.
Yeah. The untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing games are missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. All right, so y'all can go ahead and save the date because for me, for my money, this is the fight that I'm most excited about in the month of August. You know, August isn't the biggest month for boxing. Not a whole lot of big cards. You know, Tank versus Roach was supposed to happen this month in their rematch. They're not fighting, so August is starved of big name fights, but there's still some fights going on. Boxing never stops. There's no off season. So I would say for me, this is the fight I'm most excited about. So y'all can mark your calendars, put a memo on your phone. August the 22nd in Orlando, Caribe Royale Hotel. You're gonna have a battle in my favorite weight class, the featherweight division, as Puerto Rican prospect, MVP Promotions prospect, Jean Paul Rivera takes on one of South Florida's very own, Daniel Bailey, in his first fight. Bailey's moving down in weight, so we don't know what Bailey's going to do at featherweight, but I'm very intrigued to see. Very, very intriguing fight. So let's try to break it down because, I know Bailey. We'll get to Bailey. He's a South Florida guy. I know all about Bailey, but let's talk about Jean Paul Rivera because he is the A side in this fight. He is the person that the promoters want to win, right? So he's coming to you guys live and direct from, Puerto Rico. He's the next Puerto Rican prospect that boxing is trying to invest money into. He's currently, right now, he's actually ranked in the featherweight division. He's ranked number 12 in the WBA, and he's ranked number 15 in the WBO. So he's a guy that I think right now it's the true start of his career. It's the true start where you can start watching, how far can this guy go? Is he going to become a real factor in this weight class? Now, I went ahead and I watched some of his fights. I watched two of his fights from last year, one against Justin Goodson and one against Andy Beltran. I'll tell you guys what I saw. So in the Justin Goodson fight, Goodson was a bit of a mover, but on his record, he was 8-0 with 8 knockouts, but he hadn't really knocked nobody out. So he was a mover in that fight. The main thing that stood out to me about Jean Paul Rivera in both fights, because he fought two different styles. Goodson was more of a mover, counter puncher, and then he fought a Mexican named Andy Beltran from Mexico, right? And he was tall, lanky, rangy, didn't really fight tall, kind of lunged over his front foot a little bit, but good fighter, solid, had a good range. He was 8-0 just like Justin Goodson. So two different looks, two different attributes, two different things to work out. But the main constant that I saw with Jean Paul Rivera in both fights was he has great timing. He's got naturally heavy hands, and I know if you look at his record, he's 12-0 with 6 knockouts. So it would say that he's not a big puncher, but you can't always go by knockout ratio. You watch the tape, and you can definitely tell he's punching like that. But his best attribute, I would say, is his timing. He has an ability to anticipate where his opponent's going to be and punch in between the shots. So I think that's the main thing to look out for is his timing. But at the same time, especially in the Goodson fight, there were pockets and the response in that fight where he's susceptible to get counterpunched. So I think that's a hole that I could see there for Bailey. But in terms of who is who looks like the bigger fighter, in terms of their shoulders and their frame, I would say it looks like Jean Paul Rivera might be a little bigger than Bailey, but I don't know. I gotta see when they match up with each other because Bailey's taller. Bailey's 5'8". Jean Paul Rivera's 5'5". So on paper Bailey's taller and he's longer, but I think the guy that has the bigger frame, from what I could see, it looked like it was Rivera. But we'll see when they fight. Now on the other side, you got Daniel Bailey. A fighter that's had a up and down career. The last time most of us saw him in the ring was last May against Edward Vasquez on Red Hour Boxing. A really interesting fight, a fight where he got off to a great start. He actually wound up hurting Edward Vasquez. And this is Edward Vasquez that we saw recently fight Rafael Espinoza for the world title and a guy that's been in there with guys like Raymond Ford and Joe Cordina. So the fact that Bailey hurt him early in the fight, it showed that he has really good power, more than people think. And I think that the fact that he's not fighting a volume puncher in this fight is going to be to his benefit. I think Bailey his hardest, the guys that will really give him the most problems are volume punchers. But if he's in there with anybody that allows him to really counter punch and control the pace of the fight, as we saw when he fought Malik Warren back in late 2023 when he was the B-side in that fight. He was a B-side in that fight. Malik Warren was a Calvin Ford fighter, and he wound up upsetting Malik Warren on Red Owl Boxing Show. So I think Bailey there is a path to victory for him. And I'm intrigued because he's never fought as a featherweight before. He's moving down in weight to fight John Paul Rivera. So it's possible that Bailey could really be punching like that at featherweight. He's shown flashes of good punching power at 130. Maybe at featherweight he flashes even more punching power. So I don't know. He's a hard guy to quantify because he's never been in this weight class. Against a guy like John Paul Rivera. So with that being said, I'm really intrigued about this fight because breaking the fight down stylistically, it's going to be about timing. Can John Paul Rivera impose himself and use his timing to exploit Daniel Bailey? Because watching Daniel Bailey in the past, even in his best fight against Malik Warren, there were times where he did fade after the fourth round. And so I think, Rivera's going to have to try to exploit his for what the weaknesses he's shown in the past, which is his stamina. And for Bailey, he's going to have to be able to find holes in the John Paul Rivera defense, which they're going to be there. He's going to be looking to throw big shots and counter and time you, but I saw Justin Goodson time him, and Bailey is a higher level fighter than Justin Goodson. He's been in there with better fighters. He's beaten better fighters. He's sparred better fighters. He's just a better fighter all the way on the board than a guy like Justin Goodson. So this is a true step-up fight for John Paul Rivera to see if he's going to, how he deals with this kind of style with a higher level fighter in Daniel Bailey. And then for Bailey, I see this as a potential breakout fight for him. If he wins this fight, all of a sudden, now he's a guy that you could actually rank in the featherweight division in just one fight because he's beating a guy that's ranked. So it's an important fight for both guys' careers. I think the fight's going to go either one of two ways. I think either A, Jean Paul Rivera is going to stop Daniel Bailey, or B, Daniel Bailey is going to counter punch his way to a victory over Jean Paul Rivera. The most unlikely outcome that I see happening, if the fight does have an unlikely outcome, I would say a Bailey by stoppage, because he does have sneaky power and he is accurate, and I think he can land this guy. But I would say either Jean Paul Rivera by stoppage or Bailey by decision. Those are probably the two likely outcomes. Really good fight. What I'll say is this. It's a big fight for John Paul Rivera. Like he needs to win this fight, because if he don't win this fight, it's a big step back in his career. Bailey's not I haven't seen the odds, but Bailey's not the house fighter here, so they're bringing him in to lose. So if he loses, he's already lost twice. It ain't quite as big a deal for him. But for Jean Paul Rivera, look, Jake Paul and MVP, they already had Avius Griffin lose recently against Julian Rodriguez. I don't think they want to see another one of their male prospects lose. So it's imperative that John Paul Rivera come out here and get the job done. But it's a really good fight, and I'm probably out for my money the best fight of the month if we're talking about the month of August. So that's my take on Jean Paul Rivera and Daniel Bailey. A really good fight. What do you guys think? Leave your comments down below. Make sure you guys take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Dang It. So until next time, take care. Thank you for watching another video on the untouchable True School Sports Empire. For more great boxing content just like this, make sure you guys stay tuned and subscribe. You won't be disappointed.